be a different scenario for provincial government, federal government. If we account for environmental degradation, loss of ecosystem services in our daily life, our cost of living would be much, much higher than what we think it is. So globally, drinking water, contaminated water is the major killer. 7 million people die from contaminated water. And most of it happens in developing and underdeveloped countries. This example of 77% of rural communities do not have access to safe water in developing countries, underdeveloped countries. They do not have piped water coming to their home. 35 out of 1,000 children in Cambodia, in the slums, do not live beyond age of 5. All of those deaths are because of contaminated water. Only 40% of women complete grade 3 because they have a major responsibility of gathering food and water for their family. So if they go to school or they go to work, there won't be anybody to do those chores. And in Canada, we are a developed country, one of the G8 countries. We have our own share of problems. We had several people die in Walkerton, and many people lost their kidney functions forever. In a given day, today, there would be at least 1,000 small communities under boil water advisories in this country. So we have our share of problems with the drinking water and public perception and the risk associated with it. So these are some of the parameters that we should be concerned about. There are pathogenic bacteria like E. coli, Enterococcus, and protozoans like Giardia and Crypto. So there is a term called beaver fever. So those are due to some of the protozoans like Cryptosporidium or Giardia. And excessive nutrients. Nitrogen and phosphorus that you use in your lawn or your garden to make things green and grow. It is the same nutrients that make your water green and unusable. Exactly same nutrients, no difference. So when you are around the lake and you own a waterfront property, please do not fertilize your ground. Because 50 to 60% of that nutrients is going to go into the lake and make your water green. The water that you're drawing will have much more taste and odor, greater concentration of bacteria, and much more algae in the water. So if you happen to be a waterfront, house owner, try not to fertilize in your garden. And also, harmful chemicals like pesticides, herbicides, metals, antibiotics, and more recently, pharmacare product. You may not need the medication, but you might be drinking it through your tap water. That is the situation in many places. And in my talk, I will show that Shawnigan Lake has some of your pharmacare products that you take and rub in your lake through your septic systems. And when we talk about protecting our environment, in many cases, it is not possible. How do you protect Shawnigan Lake? We have come far beyond that time. We have already developed the lake. Houses are around it. Within, actually, buffer zone that is considered no construction, no development zone. Like currently, 30 meters from the water is no used zone in most provinces in Canada. So in Shawnigan Lake, most of the houses are within buffer zone. They are there because they were built when we did not have those kind of regulations. Currently, if you want to build a home on Shawnigan Lake where land is still intact, I don't think you will be allowed to build a home within 30 meters of the water. You could probably, Cowichan Valley, district, could, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's what the regulation is, 30 meter, 40 meter.
Yeah, it's parent area regulations that's been brought by the province
Yeah.
for fish habitat areas.
Exactly. So what I was saying that protection may not be possible, but we could manage. So what I will try to demonstrate throughout my talk is how you could actually manage Shawnigan Lake to improve or optimize the quality of water and keep it better for a longer time. I appreciate if you could shut it down, please. Now, contamination happens, but unless we know where the contaminations are coming from, you cannot regulate those contaminants. You cannot protect the water system unless you know what is doing the contamination. So, before I go into the water quality issues for Shawnigan Lake, I'll give you some ideas of some of the tools that are available to us. So when I gave my presentation 8 years ago, we didn't have those tools. Over the last 8 years in our lab, we developed those tools and we can demonstrate the risk any given ecosystem is under ongoing land use or future planned land use. So the challenges of maintaining good quality water is because of conflicting land use. In any watershed, multiple use watershed, Shawnigan Lake is a multiple use watershed. Okay? You have a little bit of agriculture and fertilizer use. You have some livestock. You have waste disposal, like your septic, and also there is, I believe, a small waste treatment, sewage treatment plant that goes into the ground, disposed into the ground. And there are always pesticides, herbicides used, forest harvesting, housing effects, and some industrial activities. All of those lead to pathogens in the water, nutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, metals and organics, like heavy metals like mercury and arsenic. And organic means colored material, decomposed plant colored materials. And you will have pharmaceuticals, the pharmacare products that people use end up in the water system. Those end up into the lake system, like say Shawnigan Lake. It affects the quality of the source water in terms of these parameters, it affects the quality of water in your tap, and ultimately affects public health. And when you have poor water, it is the immunocompromised population of the community are at greater risk, like children and elderly, and also in other way compromised from immunity. They are the one at more risk. So what we are trying to do is develop effective management models. How do you manage the land around the lake? While we have developed the land, how do we manage it properly now so that in the future we will have better water quality? And also, we need to link quality of source water and its implications for community health. Nowhere in this country, quality of source water is considered as an important parameter. If you ask the head of the drinking water council or directorate of British Columbia, Barry Badger, if you ask Barry Badger, why aren't we analyzing quality of water at the source? He said, we can treat it all. All we are concerned is the quality of water at the tap. Now, how do you analyze or assess risk of failure?